The Prime Minister is holding crucial talks on the future of the controversial HS2 railway this evening. The government appears poised to give the scheme the go-ahead after Chancellor Sajid Javid signalled his support despite the project's mounting costs. The high-speed line would link London with Birmingham and then on to Northern England. Here's our political editor Laura Kuenssberg.
Over here is a line of trees and hedgerows that run along the edge of Calvert Jubilee Nature Reserve. These will all be taken out by HS2.
Big projects will always affect someone's backyard.
There is going to be a swathe of the nature reserve that is taken away.
Lindsay Batham's one of many who fear the project will spoil her part of the Buckinghamshire countryside. But the diggers have long been at work. Billions have already been poured into high-speed rail, designed to provide extra capacity on the lines and faster journeys from London to the Midlands, then eventually on to Manchester, Leeds and beyond.
Is it a green light?
Ministers are nervous about the enormous cost, but have to make a decision soon. The Chancellor is ready to say yes and is meeting with the Prime Minister and the Transport Secretary tonight.
It is the case that this is the biggest infrastructure decision this country has ever made, the biggest in Europe, and it's quite right that it's properly and carefully considered, not just with that Network Rail evidence, but with everything else. The good news is he won't have to wait too long.
There are plenty of backers on the green benches, but simmering hostility too.
If the government were to scrap HS2, which everybody knows is a catastrophic waste of money, he would have a huge amount available for more rail infrastructure in West Yorkshire and across the north.
I understand you've got some very tough questions for me.
Making the decision is a big call for Boris Johnson. Sceptical about the cost of a project whose full benefits might not be felt until these Downing Street visitors have grown up. But under pressure to say yes, with helpful advice from former rivals in his ears.
It would be nuts to cancel HS2. This is going to connect the north of England and the Midlands to the south and help level up the economic geography of the UK. And frankly, you can't be a government that says you're committed to the north and committed to infrastructure, as this government does, and I really welcome that, and then cancel the biggest transport infrastructure project ever conceived for the north of England.
The Northern Powerhouse Partnership is George Osborne's vested interest lobbying club, which somehow has managed to set itself up as a mouthpiece of the north, which is funded by the companies who want to build this thing. Every single piece of international evidence shows that HS2 will drag more economic activity to London. That's what's happened all across the world.
I think the claim that HS2 will heal the north-south divide is a massive overstatement. If we look at what's happened in other countries, Spain, France, South Korea, where these kinds of high-speed lines have been introduced, that simply hasn't happened. What's more likely to happen is that it will attract further people to work in London from an even wider distance, and it will enable firms in London to serve markets in the regions much more easily. So most of the advantages of this investment will accrue to London and the South East rather than to the regional cities.
There are the practicalities, the price tag, but of course the politics. HS2 is wildly over budget. It will take years to complete. But remember, the government won the election in part by making big promises to connect the country, to correct the lopsidedness, to make things fairer, north, south, east and west. Some figures in government believe there would be a huge credibility problem if they were to call the whole thing off. Downing tools completely seems far-fetched. Signs in Westminster point to a go-ahead soon. But it's a big choice and not clear yet when and how this project will roll on.
I would scrap HS2 immediately and not worry about the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy is that once you've spent a couple of £1 billion, you have to keep on spending, otherwise you've wasted the couple of billion. No, you save the 98 billion, and that is what we should do.